You think you know exactly why the Brown family fell apart, but the real smoking gun wasn't a fight in the kitchen or a conversation on a porch. It was captured in 4K resolution on a Christmas morning that fans are calling the single most incriminating moment in reality TV history. We all watched Kody Brown zooming around on a high-end electric minibike, laughing like a maniac, but what you might have missed is the subtle, heartbreaking details in the background that turn this scene from a holiday celebration into clear evidence of what legal experts are calling financial embezzlement. Kody didn't just buy presents, he accidentally aired his own fraud to the world, proving exactly where the money went while his other children were left with scraps. This wasn't bad budgeting. This was a calculated move to drain family resources, and today we are breaking down exactly how he exposed himself. Before we expose the shocking dollar amount Kody actually blew on this stunt and the unverified insider leaks about what happened the second the cameras cut, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are digging up the secrets TLC tries to bury, and you do not want to miss what we have coming next. Let's get into the numbers because they paint a disturbing picture. For years, viewers watched Kody cry poverty to his original wives. We saw the tears, the stress, and the constant lectures about how the family pot was running dry. The most sickening example was when he suggested his daughter Isabel delay her agonizing, necessary spine surgery because the family supposedly couldn't afford it. He pleaded with Christine to wait, claiming the funds just weren't there. Yet, fast forward to this infamous Christmas at Robyn's house, and the poverty narrative completely evaporates. We aren't talking about a few extra toys under the tree. We are talking about multiple Saran-style electric bikes and mini bikes. If you look up the retail value of these machines, you are looking at a price tag that easily clears $5,000 in a single morning. The math simply does not add up. How does a man who can't afford medical care for one daughter suddenly find thousands of dollars in disposable cash for luxury vehicles for another set of kids? This is where the speculation gets dark. There is a strong theory circulating among financial analysts who watch the show that this wasn't just impulsive shopping. It looks suspiciously like asset dumping. When a divorce is on the horizon, or when you know your partners are about to leave, one of the oldest tricks in the book is to convert liquid cash, which can be split in court, into physical assets that sit in your garage. By spending the family pot on heavy machinery for Robyn's estate, Kody effectively liquidated the money that should have gone to Janelle and Christine. He wasn't just being a generous dad, he was allegedly emptying the register before the store closed down. But the financial betrayal is only half the story. The emotional, psychological warfare on display here is what truly turned the audience against him. There is a persistent rumor, one that has been discussed on forums and by unverified insiders close to production, that this entire scene was staged for a very specific reason. Reports suggest that Kody was desperate to rehabilitate his image. After seasons of looking like the villain, he needed a hero dad moment. Speculation suggests that the moment the chaos settled, Kody looked toward the production crew for validation. It's been whispered that he asked, "Did we get the shot? Does it look like I provided it?" If these reports are true, it confirms our worst fears. The joy on his face wasn't about seeing his children happy. It was about capturing footage that he thought would prove he was a provider. The irony is that he set a trap for himself. He wanted to look like the ultimate patriarch, but the camera doesn't lie. It captured the horrifying contrast that destroyed his credibility forever. While Robyn's children were screaming with excitement over vehicles that cost more than most people's first cars, we see Truly, Christine's daughter, the daughter he hasn't seen in ages. She is standing there amidst the chaos of thousands of dollars being burned on toys, holding a sweater and a book. The estimated value of Truly's pile was maybe $50. The visual gap between a $5,000 motorbike and a discount sweater is the perfect metaphor for Kody's love. It is transactional, it is conditional, and it is entirely dependent on who your mother is. You have to look closely at Truly's reaction here because it is a masterclass in survival. In a toxic family system, there is something called being the scapegoat. The scapegoat is the child who gets the blame, the scraps, and the cold shoulder. Kody, whether he realizes it or not, has set up a dynamic where Robyn's kids are the golden children and everyone else is an outsider. A narcissist often expects a big reaction. They want the scapegoat to cry, to complain, to cause a scene, because then they can point a finger and say, look how ungrateful she is. But Truly didn't give him that satisfaction. She stood perfectly still. She smiled politely. She said thank you. Psychologists call this gray rocking. It's when you become as uninteresting and unreactive as a rock so the toxic person cannot feed off your energy. Truly, at her young age, displayed more dignity and maturity in that moment than Kody has in 18 seasons. She dissociated from the situation because that was the only way to survive the humiliation of being treated like a second-class citizen in her own father's living room. She didn't break down, which arguably infuriated Kody more. He couldn't edit her into being a brat because she was perfectly well-behaved, which only highlighted just how cruel his financial distribution really was. But this goes deeper than just bad gifts. We need to talk about the double bind Kody placed himself in. He demands absolute loyalty. He tells the world that he loves all his children equally and that the wives are the ones poisoning the well. But actions speak louder than words. If he claims to be a righteous leader, how does he justify the optics of this Christmas? This is where the fans have turned into detectives. Many believe that Kody has been funneling money into Robyn's household for years, hiding it under the guise of household expenses, while Janelle and Christine were forced to pinch pennies. Think about the timeline. This was filmed right as the family was fracturing completely. Janelle was asking questions about the money. Christine was already 1 foot out the door. The purchase of these mini bikes feels like a panic move. It's as if Kody knew he was losing control of the family finances, so he spent what was left on the people who were still loyal to him. It's a scorched earth policy. If the other wives are leaving, he's going to make sure they leave with nothing, while he stacks the garage at Robyn's house with high-value items that can be resold later if things get tough. And let's address the Robyn factor in this equation. There is no way these purchases happened without her knowledge. For someone who claims to want the big picture family and wants everyone to be together, allowing this level of disparity on Christmas morning is complicity. A mother who truly wanted unity would have said, Kody, we cannot give my kids dirt bikes while your other daughter gets a book. The silence from Robyn in this scene is deafening. It suggests that the us versus them mentality isn't just coming from Kody. It is a shared delusion in that house that they are the victims and therefore they deserve the spoils of war. But we need to talk about the silence in that room because it screams louder than Kody's maniacal laughter on those bikes. When you strip away the flashy editing, what you are actually watching is a man drawing a line in the sand. This wasn't just about Christmas presents. It was a declaration of war against the wives who were starting to question him. By showering Robyn's household with luxury goods, Kody was sending a very clear message to Janelle and Christine. If you aren't on my team, you get nothing. It is classic behavioral conditioning. He is rewarding the loyal subjects and starving the rebellious ones, using his own children as pawns in a sick game of loyalty. This brings us to the cool dad performance, which backfired in the most spectacular way possible. Kody clearly thought that hopping on that mini bike and revving the engine would make him look youthful, fun, and generous to the millions of people watching at home. He wanted the audience to see a provider who spoils his kids. But the internet is undefeated, and fans immediately saw through the facade. Instead of a cool dad, we saw a man in the middle of a midlife crisis, desperately trying to buy affection because he doesn't know how to earn it emotionally. The image of him joyriding while his biological daughter stood awkwardly in the corner is now burned into the minds of viewers as the definitive proof of his failure as a father. And it gets darker when you look at the legal implications. We touched on the asset hiding theory, but let's dig deeper into why this specific purchase set off alarm bells for legal experts and forensic accountants who follow the show. When a family pot is being split up during a separation, cash is easy to track. If you transfer $10,000 to a secret account, there is a paper trail. But physical assets, those are much murkier waters. Many speculate that Kody has been systematically converting family funds into toys, art, precious metals, guns, and now expensive electric vehicles. These are items that hold value but can easily disappear or be undervalued during a settlement negotiation. There are unconfirmed reports circulating in online communities that Janelle was supposedly furious when she saw the episode. Rumor has it that she had been asking for financial transparency for months, only to be stonewalled, told there was no money for the estate, and then forced to watch her estranged husband drop a small fortune on a televised shopping spree. If these reports are true, this footage isn't just bad reality TV. It is potential evidence. Kody essentially filmed his own confession. He proved that the money existed. He just chose not to spend it on the people who helped him earn it. He effectively handed his ex-wives the smoking gun for future child support arguments. Let's shift focus back to the psychological damage being inflicted here. We have to analyze Kody's behavior through the lens of a narcissistic family system. In this dynamic, children are not seen as individuals with their own feelings. They are seen as extensions of the parent. If the child reflects well on the parent, they are praised. If they don't, they are discarded. Robyn's children stroke Kody's ego. They treat him like the center of the universe, likely because they have been coached to do so. Therefore, they get the $5,000 bikes. Truly, on the other hand, represents Christine, the wife who stopped worshiping Kody. Because Truly is an extension of Christine in Kody's mind, she gets the cold shoulder. It is a proxy war. Kody cannot attack Christine directly in that moment, so he attacks her through her child by making her feel small and insignificant. It is one of the most cruel tactics a parent can use, and seeing it play out in 4K resolution was stomach-turning. But what Kody failed to calculate was Truly's resilience. We mentioned her gray rock reaction earlier, but there is another layer to it. By not giving him a reaction, by not crying or storming off, she stripped him of his power. He wanted a reaction. He wanted the drama. When she simply said, "Thank you," and moved on, she became the adult in the room, leaving him looking like an oversized toddler on a toy bike. There's also a fascinating theory regarding the production crew's involvement in this debacle. Insider leaks, which we must stress are unverified but highly plausible, suggest that the crew was uncomfortable filming this scene. It's been said that the tension in the room was palpable. You have cameramen who have known these kids for a decade, watching this blatant favoritism play out in real time. The editing of the episode seems to support this theory. The editors didn't have to show us the close-up of Truly's face while Kody laughed. They didn't have to contrast the piles of gifts so starkly, but they did. This leads many to believe that the production team is essentially trolling Kody at this point. They are tired of his narrative and are using the final cut to expose him. They gave him the rope and he hung himself with it. By including that footage, they allowed the world to see the real Kody Brown, not the version he tries to present in his confessionals. It's a subtle form of justice. He thought he was directing the scene, asking if they got the shot, but the editors got a shot he never intended, the shot of his moral bankruptcy. And what about the fallout? You would think that after the backlash from this episode, Kody would issue an apology or try to explain the disparity. But typical of his pattern, he doubled down. In subsequent interviews and tell-alls, he has danced around the issue, blaming the lack of connection with his other kids on their mothers. He refuses to take accountability for the fact that relationships are built on time, attention, and fairness, not just showing up for a few hours on a holiday to perform for the cameras. This brings us to the thematic hypocrisy that drives viewers crazy. Kody is obsessed with the idea of respect. He demands it constantly, yet he fails to realize that respect is a two-way street. You cannot buy respect with a Sur-on bike, and you certainly cannot demand it while treating one daughter like a princess and the other like a stranger. He is trying to rewrite history to make Robyn's family his true legacy, erasing the decades of history he has with the OG3. But the audience has a long memory. We remember when the family was one unit. We remember when the money was scarce, but the love seemed real. Now the money is there, but the love has been replaced by transactions. And this brings us to the most brutal reality check of all, the one that Kody never saw coming. You cannot buy a legacy, and you certainly cannot buy back the years of neglect with a last-minute shopping spree. While Kody was busy trying to perform the role of the fun dad for the cameras, he was creating a vacuum, a massive emotional void in Truly's life that he had no intention of filling. But the universe has a funny way of balancing the scales. Enter David Woolley. If you want to understand just how badly Kody failed, you only have to look at the man who stepped in when he stepped out. David didn't need a camera crew to prove he cared. He didn't need a $5,000 electric bike to get Truly's attention. We have seen glimpses of David with Truly, and the difference is shattering. It isn't about the money, it's about the presence. Reports and social media posts show David giving real bear hugs, being physically present, and offering a quiet, stable environment where Truly isn't fighting for scraps of attention. Kody's performative fatherhood has been rendered entirely obsolete. He is playing a character on TV, while David is playing the role of a father in real life. That is a competition Kody cannot win, no matter how many high-end toys he stacks in Robyn's garage. This leads us to the point of no return. Looking back, historians of this show will likely pinpoint the Christmas Minibike incident as the exact moment the House of Brown officially collapsed. It wasn't the divorce papers, it was this specific display of financial and emotional infidelity. By laughing on those bikes while his other daughter stood in the cold, Kody handed his ex-wives the moral high ground forever. He validated every single complaint Christine and Janelle ever had. He proved on national television that he has money, he just chooses not to spend it on the children he has discarded. There is a tragic irony here that feels almost Shakespearean. Kody spent years terrified of poverty, hoarding resources, and manipulating his wives to keep the family pot full. But in his desperate attempt to keep control and reward his loyal wife, he lost the most valuable assets he had, his original family. He traded a diamond for a handful of rhinestones. He chose the temporary thrill of a new bike over the lifelong loyalty of children who once adored him. And now, as the rumors of forensic accounting and child support battles heat up, that Christmas morning might come back to haunt him in court. Legal experts speculate that footage like this is gold for divorce attorneys. It proves discretionary spending that contradicts his claims of being broke. He didn't just hurt his daughter's feelings. He may have screwed himself legally. The insider theories regarding the aftermath of this scene are just as compelling. It has been said that Kody was genuinely shocked by the audience's reaction. In his mind, he provided a great Christmas. This disconnect reveals the core behavioral flaw we have been analyzing. His narcissism prevents him from seeing the world through anyone else's eyes. He cannot comprehend why Truly would be hurt, because in his narrative, he is the benevolent king. But the audience saw the truth. We saw a man who is so deep in his own delusion that he laughed while his family burned to the ground. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with a cautionary tale about ego, money, and the destruction of a family. The Christmas Minibike scandal wasn't just a scene in a reality show. It was a televised autopsy of a marriage. It exposed the rot at the core of Kody's leadership. He wanted to be the hero, but he edited himself into the villain. He wanted to show off his wealth, but he exposed his financial abuse. And he wanted to punish Christine, but he only succeeded in pushing Truly into the arms of a stepfather who actually stepped up. This brings us to the final thought. Kody Brown may have the bikes, the big house, and the loyal wife, but he is sitting in that house alone, isolated from the majority of his children, surrounded by stuff, but devoid of respect. He won the battle for the assets, but he lost the war for his legacy. And as we watch the legal hammer come down in the coming months, remember this moment. Remember the sound of that electric motor whining, the forced laughter, and the silence of a little girl who realized once and for all that she deserved better. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on the upcoming legal battles and the unconfirmed reports about where the rest of the family money is really hiding, you need to subscribe right now. We are digging into the financial records that TLC won't touch, and you do not want to miss our next expose on the secret LLCs that might explain where the rest of the family pot vanished to. Hit that like button if you think Truly deserves the world, and I'll see you in the next video.